Well, welcome to the MBU Football Spartans 2024 National Signing Day Coaches Show. I'm here with Coach B, and we know that this is one of the most exciting days every year for Spartans because we're going to be changing the lives of 43 young men that have decided to become Spartans. So, Coach, I want to start with what's this process been like for you and your staff?
Well, it's been a lot of fun. You know, we talk about it every year about getting to signing day and all the hard work and time that goes into it. And obviously a lot of stuff on many different levels. So just really excited for our staff, excited for these guys that we're going to announce with this, class of 2024. But our staff has done a tremendous job and just really look forward to announcing these guys. Can't give enough credit to those guys. But, I think this is the beginning of a new era in a lot of ways, not just with some of the guys that are in this class, but I also have to take a minute to comment on you and I, because I think this is the first year since the beginning of the program that we're both going to be doing this with glasses on. So that's saying something.
Well, Coach, it really is. It's a really good observation. It's a funny observation, but I'm at that age where this is what I got to do. So what can I say? I know I kind of jumped the gun, and I'm so excited to want to just dive into it. And, I know historically I like to always go with the offense first, but I think we're going to change it up this year. And because, your position is with the defensive back in the secondary, what do you think about starting on the defense this year?
Oh, I always like talking about defense. So that's a part of the team that I spend a lot of time with. So it's always fun to do that.
Absolutely. So, Coach, just want to say, great job to the graphics department. These graphics really turn out extremely well. And it's kind of fun that we get to show this right here to our Spartan fans as we go live. So with that, we'll go ahead and start with our very first signee. It's Johnny Harrison from St. Louis, Missouri, in Jennings specifically. Talk to us a little bit about our defensive back, Johnny Harrison.
Yeah, so, as we kind of dive into these guys, I think one of the things that Spartan fans are going to notice is our staff did a tremendous job recruiting the St. Louis area. It's been a focal point for us for, since day one, something that we were really we've always taken a lot of pride in doing that. But, this year in particular, I think there's several reasons that we were able to do a little bit better than what we have in the past. One of them, big shout out to our administration in really pushing the chips in on not just football, but some of the athletic teams here. And our new athletic director, Jeff Ford, has done a tremendous job. But, we were able to get some more scholarship money, and that's really been paying dividends. And I can't say enough about the support of our administration and how they've really helped us with that. But, with Johnny's an athlete. Secondary DBs is a big need for us that we've got to fill some spots. We like what he does. He's a real long, athletic guy, a playmaker, can play both sides of the ball, but we're going to put him in the secondary. A tremendous athlete, can jump out of the gym, and, again, a St. Louis guy.
Absolutely. So to add to the defensive backs, talk to us a little bit about Adam Suter.
Yeah, Adam, he's another lengthy guy. You're going to see some length out of these guys. Johnny being that way, Adam is the same way. Plays with a lot of instincts. Another St. Louis guy is from Fort Zumwalt West, just here in the St. Charles area. Really smart, intelligent guy, works hard, and will be a great asset there to the secondary as well.
Well, that's exciting. You signed another cornerback with Travis Willis.
Yeah, so Travis is a guy from Texas. He's down from the Houston area. Willow Ridge High School is where Travis is coming from. We have a wide receiver right now up here, Nick Schock, who was a freshman this year.
Yeah.
We redshirted Nick, but he's got some talent, can do some good things. We're excited to see what Nick can do in spring ball. But Travis is, again, another long guy. He's about 6 foot, 6'1", really good cover corner. So, we ended up losing Caleb Ford in the offseason.
Right.
We hate losing Caleb, but he had to go back due to some family things. And so we're getting another guy from Texas in Travis up here to hopefully fill his spot and go compete at a corner position.
Absolutely. Now let's move to safety. Let's just be honest, Coach. Our team has a history of some amazing safety plays, right? I think of Connor Bobstead in the early days, and of course, just recently, our first team All-American for the NAIA, and certainly, I mean, Jalen Cowley, right? And also even with Joe King, also in that class as well. So we've always been strong there. And talk to us a little bit about Kayshawn Love.
Yeah, Kayshawn, a Hazelwood East guy, another guy who can do multiple things. He's a long guy, tremendous athlete. He'll fly around. He's a first team all conference at safety there
Nice.
at Hazelwood East.
Yep.
I think, again, one of the things that, I think a lot of guys you're going to see at a lot of programs that are first team, second team, all conference, but we've got guys, that are all state, all conference, have been there multiple years. Kayshawn can do a lot of different things. I think he's athletic enough that if we had a need at corner, he could do it. But he is a tremendous safety. He's rangy back there. He'll come down and get and hit. So, like you said, we've had some really good safeties here. We've been blessed to have that. Daryl Krieger last year, Daniel Creighton last year. So we lose both of those guys. We've got some guys there in the secondary that are coming back. But the secondary in general, corner and safety, was a big priority for us.
Absolutely. So let's kind of switch our attention now to Herman Brooks IV. I just saw a little side note. One of my good colleagues that I work with, he actually works at Lee Summit. He's actually the wide receivers coach. So it's kind of cool that you've got a player from his team. Good friend of mine, like I said, that I've known for years, but that's where he coaches. So talk to us about Herman.
Yeah, Herman's actually one of three guys that we have from Lee Summit.
Oh, nice. So,
and they're all really good players. Lee Summit North, one of the premier teams there in the Kansas City area. I think, again, Coach Heck, our offensive coordinator, recruiting coordinator, has done a tremendous job coordinating the staff, tremendous job himself recruiting. He has this Kansas City area and has been out there a lot, has done a tremendous job with those guys. But Herman's another just physical, lengthy, rangy safety. His first team all conference, had 62 tackles, helped Lee Summit North to a runner-up in the state championship. State runner-up in 2022, was district championship appearance this year in 2023. But a guy who, when he was up on campus, immediately we knew that this was a guy that would help us in the secondary, just like Kayshawn Love and some of these other guys.
Yeah.
But he's got some length, he's got the ability, and he's willing to come down and hit. And really excited about the addition of him in our secondary.
Well, Coach, let's just be honest. You're never going to bring in a defensive back unless he can hit. Let's just be honest about that. All of them hit. Come on now.
Yeah,
all right.
You have to, don't you? I mean, that's part of it. As Coach Bowden used to say, you better go get wet.
All right, you brought in another safety. Talk to us about Javon Huff.
Yeah, Javon is a Joe King type. Okay. So he's a little bit smaller, not as long and rangy as some of these other guys, but he's quick. He's a guy that'll come down and hit. You don't notice that he's a little bit smaller in stature the way he plays, and he flies around and touches the ball. He comes from East Jackson High School down in Tennessee, where one of my best friends, Cameron Pettis, who I've coached with in the past at McKendree University and at Belleville West High School before I moved over this way. He and I coached together, have been really close friends, and we're excited to get Javon up here. Just a tremendous young guy, was on campus a week ago and committed to us last night. So kind of a late addition, but a guy that we're really excited about.
All right, that about wraps up the defensive backs. And great class. You signed 6 players, and just want to say welcome, certainly, to the class of 2024. Now we're going to move to kind of the big boys, right? Let's start with our defensive ends. Talk to us about Adam Haas.
Yeah, Adam's a guy who is not too far from where I live, out in Southern Illinois. He's from Westland High School, Trenton, Illinois area. He's a defensive end. He's also a long snapper. So nice. He's a guy that can fill multiple needs for us. In fact, it's kind of a full circle moment because his high school head coach, Ray Colling, is a guy that I coached with the very first year I moved out here. I coached with Ray for a year. Great guy, great coach. Adam's a great guy. His dad is a pastor, and he was really looking for an opportunity to go to a Baptist school close to home, which we were a good fit for him. We're excited that he's here.
Very, very good. So talk to us about Deron Perkins from right here in St. Louis, from St. Mary's.
Yeah, Deron is one of these guys that just jumps off the film. When you turn the film on, he's a guy who's very versatile in what he can do. He's a defensive end, could potentially be like an stand-up 3-4 outside backer type. He's got good size. Not quite as big as Raekwon, but he's the explosive type of athlete that Raekwon is at defensive end. Deron's a guy out of St. Mary's that's been a tremendous program. Won a state title here recently. He's twitchy, gets off the ball. He is one of those guys that I think Spartan fans need to keep an eye on, that will get some time and be a guy who really develops as we start transitioning. A guy like Raekwon, Jeremiah Austin, right. Brady Davis, as those guys kind of start getting to the end of their career, this is a guy who's going to give some time and be able to jump in right away. He's a tremendous athlete.
Well, Coach, let's just be honest here. I think one of the strengths has been through the years is you've always done a lot either with your strong safety, certainly, Jalen Cowley being included in that, but you've also done a nice job, like with Raekwon, moving him around. And it sounds like with Deron, we've got another guy we can move around, and you can literally put him anywhere you want in the front seven.
Yeah, quick story on Deron. So he's up on his visit, and his mom plays semi-pro for the Storm, which is a women's semi-pro football team here in St. Louis.
Oh my gosh!
His mom plays for them, and when they were up here on the visit, she was like pushing him around and like telling him, we work on D-line, we don't raise them soft. So, he comes by it honestly, and he's a tough physical young guy. He comes by it honestly. It'll be fun to work with him.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to meet him. He reminds me of a lot of a guy I played with back in the day at Western Illinois from East St. Louis, Brian Cox. I know some of our viewers might recognize that name. Certainly had a great career in the NFL. And last but not least, and you know this, was also the defensive line coach for the Atlanta Falcons when they played against the Patriots in that Super Bowl that went into overtime. So anyways, I love that kind of athlete. All right, another defensive end you signed is Joseph Roach. Talk to us about Joseph.
Yeah, he comes out of Lutheran High School over in St. Charles, so another local product. He's a guy who makes a lot of plays for them. That's a newer program, hasn't been around too terribly long, so they're similar to us, probably started up just after Missouri Baptist started football. But, he's another guy that will give some depth. He's got a little bit of time to grow. We got to get a little bit of weight on him, but he's a guy who makes a lot of plays for them, has a great motor, and will be a great addition for us.
All right, now we're going to get to the bigger boys, right? Up the middle. And with the guys that we already currently have, there's a lot of beef up there. So talk to us about DeAndre Davis, defensive tackle.
Yeah, DeAndre comes from Oakville High School, so South County guy. First team all-conference there in the Suburban League. He's a physical guy. Gets off the ball. He's explosive at the line of scrimmage. He's really good at using his hands, which for young guys, that's something that they struggle with. So when you turn the film on, you see him able to use his hands and shed blocks. That's always a good thing. And, we've got some guys inside, and so when we're looking, I think every year offensive and defensive line is always going to be a need and a priority for us. Obviously, we lose Anthony Graham off of the defensive line. We lose Jeremiah Austin off the defensive line, but we've got a Blake Litznich that's here that was a freshman this year. He'll be able to step in, but we've also got to develop that depth. And so DeAndre's a guy who I think will really help with that. And again, another local guy here from the 314.
Very, very cool. So moving on, let's talk about James Pollard.
Yeah, so James is from Montgomery County High School. Coach Zach Kern recruited both DeAndre and James. Yeah, so, like I said, these guys did a great job. He's a two-way player, so he's an interior defensive lineman, also an offensive line guy. but he's versatile. He's a big body inside, so he can help stop the run. He's pretty good at the pass rush as well. So, he's a guy that, again, the versatility of what he's done in the past gives us the opportunity to create depth. We want to start him on the defensive line, but he's also a guy that, if need be, we can always switch over to the offensive line. He's physical and has done it and does a good job.
That sounds good. We love versatility in our players, as you know. All right, now I'm going to change the screen here, and we've got Jaden rolling. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm loving that picture. I don't know where you got it, but this looks like a baller. So talk to us about Jaden.
Yeah, it's a cool picture.
It is.
That's something that he sent us. So Jaden comes from Jefferson City, Missouri, Jefferson City High School. This is Coach Coe's area. So Coach Coe recruits the Columbia, Jeff City area. He also recruits a lot of the city and North County schools. But this is a guy that early on, going back, even back to the spring into the summer, that Coach had kind of pegged as a guy that he really liked on the interior defensive line. We felt like he's really explosive. Again, a guy who uses his hands really well. Doesn't have tremendous height, but he's a strong guy. He's kind of like Gio in that sense.
Yeah.
He's not overly tall, but he's explosive. He uses his hands. And again, a guy who we think can come in and really create and push the guys, create some depth there on the interior part of our defensive line.
That sounds exciting. All right. Talk to us about, again, here's your second Lee Summit High School, right? From Lee Summit
That's
North.
right.
Cameron Durden. Talk to us about Big Cameron.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cameron is, again, he was a guy that was extremely high on our board throughout. And, I know that we're excited to have him. I'll give credit where credit's due, but Coach Heck out recruited several teams in our league and really made their day. So it sure made my day, I can tell you that. But he's a guy who is a big run stopper. He can play the 3 technique. He can play the nose. He can play the shade. So he's a versatile guy. He stops the run. He's a big physical guy there. Again, Lee Summit North was state runner-ups in 2022. Yep. They're a really, really good program. We've got several guys coming from there. And I think one of the things that we've done for a while, but that we really put emphasis on, and I can't say it enough, just getting these tweaks that the administration has allowed us to get some more scholarship money to these guys really helps get the players. At the Division II, Division NAI level, it comes down to scholarship money when you're talking about getting the really talented guys that you need, and being able to get a number of them, which we've been able to get some, but not the vast number that I feel like we are this year. So, again, hats off to our administration for that. But, Cameron is a guy that, like I was saying, we want to bring in not just Cameron, but guys throughout the whole class that are from really good programs that know how to win, programs that understand young men, to understand the work that it takes into winning football games and winning championships, because that's critical, understanding that they don't just walk in and hand out rings. You got to go earn it every day. And these guys, they understand that. A lot of them come from great programs.
Absolutely. And so kind of as we this is an interesting insert here. You signed a kicker.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm biased here, right? Because I was a former long snapper, spent a lot of time with our kickers, whether you're a punter or a kicker. So talk to us about Neil Thompson.
So Neil is a guy, again, Southern Illinois guy, Freeburg High School. Neil's a guy that Coach Rochford was recruiting a lot, our GA, that recently took a job out there at McPherson. His time up was up here, and he got that job, so we're excited for him. But, Neil being kind of in my area, Southern Illinois guy, he's worked a lot with a guy that I coached at Belleville West for a short period of time and have kept in touch with, Austin Seibert. Austin left Belleville West and was a 4-year starter at the University of Oklahoma and is now in the NFL kicking, kind of bouncing around from team to team a little bit, but he's a tremendous kicker. Austin, when he wasn't in the NFL this past year, went to Freeburg, helped Neil a lot, works with him a lot. So, Neil just keeps getting better. He's a guy that I've watched in person throughout the course of the year. And with Jonah, we know we got Jonah for one more year, and we just
Right.
felt like it was important to get another kicker in the building and, create that competition, but also have somebody ready to go for when Jonah graduates.
Absolutely. So now to wrap up the defensive signees, we're going to linebacker. And Coach, I don't know about you, but I don't know what it's going to be like to do a broadcast with Spartan football without your middle linebacker. Blake Kite, what more can we say about Blake and the career he's had? Set a record for most career tackles in a career, set a record this past year in most tackles for a season. And I'm sure that's got to be a point of heavy emphasis as you're looking to replace someone at his caliber.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, how do you replace Blake, right? I mean, he was a tremendous linebacker for us. All 5 years that he was here, he's getting some looks at the next level, whether it be overseas or CFL, XFL, that kind of stuff. But I mean, linebacker is a point of emphasis. I think the other piece of that is we've got a tremendous guy with Cade Beachside, but with his injury late last year, we anticipate that he'll be back, but we also got to create that depth, and we've got to make sure that we've got guys in the building that are ready to go. So one of those guys is Aaron Smith out of Lincoln College Prep Academy in Kansas City. Again, another guy that Coach Heck recruited and brought in. He's played both sides of the ball. He's really good athlete, was their star tailback, but also linebacker. He's a guy that will run and hit. We think that he can, he's a guy that where do you put him? But I think just based off of need, we're going to put him at linebacker. If something happens and we need to get him over there on the other side of the ball, hey, we're great. So, he can go be that running back, and we're good to go.
Absolutely. And then how about from Rittner High School, Billy Hall?
Yeah, Billy, he's a game changer. He's a guy, again, St. Louis guy. When he's not in the game, notice Billy's not in the game. And so he's a physical linebacker. He's got the right mindset. A linebacker is going to be a little different. You alluded to Brian Cox earlier. The dude was always a little bit different, but you're asking a guy to go run through a hole and smash into somebody full speed with a 5-yard running head start. You're going to be a little different, but he's got that. He's got the ability to play sideline to sideline, can play on offense or defense. Again, a guy that we're excited to see how he comes in. We feel like he can come in and help us right away. I think what we tell all these guys is your mindset is to come through the door, be ready to compete. We don't talk about red shirting until the very end of the year. They need to come in with the mindset that whoever they are, they're going to go win a job, whether it's on special teams, you name it. But we're ready for them to come through the door and help our football team.
Absolutely. Then talk to us about Jacques. You might have to help me with this first.
Yeah, Jacques Everett.
Jacques Everett from Hazelwood East High School. And I know Coach Coe's got a lot of connections there. So talk to us about Mr. Everett.
Yeah, Jacques, again, another local guy. Coach Coe, like you mentioned, recruits that school. A hard-nosed guy, has tremendous footwork and agility. I think that's one thing that really stands out on Jacques. He's got he's a guy that's played both sides of the ball. He was tied for 4th in the area with interceptions. He was also first team all-conference as a running back. So, again, versatility, has the ability to go help us at multiple positions. Again, he's one of those guys that based out of need, we are going to slot in as a linebacker. But, one of the things that we've really talked about as a staff over the last couple of years is in the NAI Division II, when you're trying to stretch those scholarship dollars, regardless of what you got, I think as coaches, you're always wanting more to go get those guys that you feel like you need. But in order to do that, you've got to have guys that are versatile, that can give you depth. That if they're not playing maybe at linebacker, Jacques is a guy who's all league at running back. Okay, that's an easy fit, man. We move him over there and let him go do his thing over there. But they have that versatility, the ability to go help us in a lot of different areas, and that just stretches your scholarship dollars and creates depth all across the board.
Yeah, that's excellent. And then as we continue with the linebackers, Jason Jones Jr.
Yeah, I'm excited about Jason. He's a guy that has a tremendous first name. You know, I think his first name but he's a first team all conference guy, all region, all district. He's a leader. You know, he's a guy that has tremendous effort, relentless. He's out of New Madrid County Central High School, down in the Boot Heel, but he's a guy that is just a leader on the field, tremendous guy, strong in the classroom, a guy that, you know, I think will come in and have a really nice career. Again, a guy who can play any of those linebacker positions.
Absolutely. So I can't wait to hear how you talk about this guy, because
he's tremendous too. I mean,
you've already used the Jason card. So what about Jason Kirk out of Rockwood Summit High School?
I think you're catching a theme here. You know, we're recruiting tremendous men off a name. Right. No, Jason is a guy out of Rockwood Summit. We've got several guys from Rockwood Summit. He's the first that we'll talk about. The other two are offensive guys. He's a 3-time all-conference guy. So going all the way back to his sophomore year, 2-time all-district, holds the school record for TFLs, first-team all-conference. I mean, just a guy that you could talk about. He's a tremendously high motor guy. So when you turn his film on, you're going to see him play a ton of defensive linemen, even though we're going to move him to linebacker because he's the smallest defensive line, but you see him fire off the ball. Nobody can block him. He's a high motor guy. He's hard to block, uses his hands, runs well. And so he's a guy that we're going to move back to linebacker. I think he'll do a great job there. But again, I mean, a guy that can do a lot of different things, had a tremendous high school career, and who knows, might be in the MBU Hall of Fame someday. That's what they're saying online.
I love it. All right, so wrapping up, your last defensive signee is Terry Quarles, linebacker from Gateway Institute of Technology High School. Again, Coach Co, hard at work. So talk to us about Charles.
Well, you know, first of all, let's talk about Gateway for a minute. I think they're kind of under the radar, you know, a city school. Jason Dulick down there does a tremendous job. That Coach Co coached there prior to coming to MBU for a year. So there are some ties there, but we've had some really good players come out of Gateway since day one. If you go back to Kenyon Perkins, who played linebacker. You go back to year one, Kalen Petty, who played tight end for us, was one of the top tight ends that the program's ever had. Just a tremendous talent. So, you know, Terry's a guy that we're really excited about at linebacker. He was third in the area in all of St. Louis in total tackles. He had 145 tackles this year at linebacker for Gateway. So, you know, when you talk about how do you replace Blake, well, it's obviously hard to replace Blake, but there's some guys that I think if they come in and we can get our hands on and develop them, they're going to really be good. They've got the right mindset. They'll run and hit. They're very athletic guys, and I think that's a big deal for us. We want to build our defense on athletes and speed, and guys who are versatile allows us to do a lot of different things.
Absolutely. So that, Spartan fans, wraps it up for the signees, the class of 2024 on defense. And so, Coach, as we get ready to transition, I'm going to actually change our camera angle here. There we go, a little close-up on us. So, Coach, talk to us kind of what are your expectations, you know, as you go into spring ball and, of course, the fall when you get a lot of these players to come to MBU on campus. So just talk specifically defense, you know, assess kind of where we're at moving forward as we get ready for the fall.
Well, I think we're kind of hitting on some of the needs that we have, right? As we go through this list, needs at DB, some questions at linebacker, who's going to step in and fill the spot of Anthony Graham, that kind of stuff. So, we've got guys in the building that can do that. I mentioned Blake Litznich, Luke Johnson, some guys in the building. We lose DeMarcus Allen, unfortunately. You know, I had some family things pop up down in Georgia. I had to go back there, which is a big loss for us. But, you know, linebacker, what guys, we're going to train guys at all the different positions, just see where they're at, you know, and obviously Cade Beachside will be out during spring ball, so it'll give some guys some reps. We got to see what we can do at safety with the guys that are in the building, and at corner with some of the guys in the building. So obviously we get Rondale Messer back, who had a really good season last year. And so I think defensively, we're just wanting to see which of these guys that are here are going to be ready to step into these different roles. And obviously, we've got to come out of there staying healthy and just really get down to the basics. Make sure that we're teaching proper techniques, running, tackling, just the little things that it's going to take to be successful come the fall.
Right. All right. Now we'll go ahead and switch to the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, I'm always biased to that side from being the former center offensive lineman. But I will say this, Coach, one of the things that kind of somewhat surprised me, but didn't on another level, but this might be the biggest area that you recruited the most amount of class of 2024 was on the offensive line. And give us a little bit about that, because I think we counted up something like 8 offensive linemen. That's a lot for a recruiting class.
Well, it is a lot, but I think, as I mentioned earlier, offensive and defensive line is a position you just can't have enough guys.
Right.
You get injuries there. It's a really it's a position where they're hard to come by, right?
Right.
And building that depth, developing that depth. So we're really excited about the guys that we have coming in. We lose some guys, obviously. Tanner Ray, Nate Stotts are 2 guys that were starters. Marcus Sims is a guy who we lose in the offseason as well. So there ended up being 3 positions that we needed to fill coming into the recruiting. So some of these guys are going to have to come in and compete right away. Now, of course, we've got guys like Devin McDaniels still in the building, and we'll be going through spring ball. Xavier Tippler, and some of these young guys that are going to get their opportunity. But it's a position where you've got to have depth. You've got to just continue to stack those guys up and let them go compete, because as you well know, that's a position that you can't just go find a 6'3", 295-pound mauler in July. You've got to make sure you got them now, and we wanted to make sure that we did that.
No, exactly. And speaking of Tippler, I got to tell you, whatever he's doing in the weight room, Coach, he's putting on some weight. It's really nice to see. Can't wait to see him, certainly playing the spring game and spring ball. But it's really nice to see what you're doing with the players right now. So I've been watching some of the conditioning, strength training, and your guys are getting after it pretty hard.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. We've got a strength coach in there that's CSCS certified and really knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
can't say enough about what she's doing so far with these guys there, and they're working really hard. She's a Lindenwood. Got her degree at Lindenwood, but is an Olympic power lifter over there, and is coming over really working these guys and doing a good job.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to the big boys, the offensive line. Let's start with Charles David from Charleston High School.
Yeah, so Charles, like you mentioned, he's out of Charleston. That's Coach Kern's area. Charles is a 2-time academic All-State, which, again, that's a big point of emphasis, getting guys in there that are smart. And the offensive line, I know you know this, and people close to football know this. You can't be dumb and play the offensive line. Like, you've got to have your stuff together. There's a lot that is asked of those guys. So getting that academic 2-time All-State is fantastic. He's a 2-time SEMO East Side Conference, first-team All-Conference guy. Really good pass blocker, aggressive in the run. He's able to open those run lanes and will be a guy that will give us some depth as we go.
Absolutely. So our next spotlight is going to be on David Blake from Oak Park, Illinois, close to where I grew up.
Yeah, David, man, I'll tell you what, he's one of these guys that we're super excited about adding. We got an early commitment out of here. Hats off to Coach Kenny Thomason, our O-line coach, and Zach Kern. Zach kind of identified him. Then between Coach Heck and Coach Thomason and Coach Kern, they just tag teamed getting him here. When we had him down on campus, he and his mom and dad, just tremendous people. He really enjoyed it, fit in right away, and committed to us really early on. He's a guy who actually committed to a Division II school and then just didn't feel comfortable about it, withdrew his commitment before the early signing day, opened things back up, was kind of under the radar, fit in with us right away. And we can't be, we're extremely excited to have him. He's a part of 2021 Illinois State Championship team up there at Fenwick, plays in one of the toughest league, the Chicago Catholic League, which I know you're very well aware of. He's all conference there. He's extremely physical. He's a big, strong guy and a guy who will, I know, be looked at to get some time early on.
Yeah, I really like that action shot. I mean, he just looks like he's ready to hit somebody. I mean, like I said, Coach, really excited. And keeping in the line with the O-line, talk to us about Eli Kraft from right here in Eureka.
Yeah, so Eli was a guy that Coach Heck really pinpointed early on. We had, going back into spring, had evaluated him, watched him through all the summer camps. Coach Heck went to 3 or 4 of his games throughout the course of the season. Eli played in the American Cancer Society All-Star game that was held up here at MBU. We got a chance to see him and his family. And he was second team all-conference there at Eureka. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you dive into that conference and the offensive linemen in that conference, second team is a huge accomplishment,
right.
Because there are guys, I think all 5 of the first team guys are going D1 or Power 5. Some of them are underclass. You know, he plays with a guy right now who's a Power 5 guy, but Eli is tremendous. He was a team captain. Eureka is a tremendous program. Again, a program that knows how to win, does things the right way. They were District 5 champions this year. He represents all of our pillars through and through. He is a guy that, we know what he can do on the offensive line, but I think really what excited us almost as much as what he does on the field is what he does off the field and his leadership and just the person that he is. So excited to have Eli part of our offensive line.
That's really, really exciting. I love it. As we continue on, talk to us about Jared Melton from Adamsville High School.
Yeah, he's Adamsville, Tennessee. So I've gotten over the years, I've gone down to a camp every spring down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So I go down there and watch guys run around. Jared was there, a guy that he works out with. I've gotten to know really well over the last couple of years, and he sent us a couple kids, Jared being one of them. Again, he's got all the intangibles. He's a tremendous hard worker. He's got football smarts, loves the game. He comes from a hardworking blue collar family. They're just great people, and Jared will fit right in on the O-line.
All right, this next signee is someone that you actually recruited out of TDW Academy, and that's Jordan Smith. Talk to us about Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan is a 2-time all-conference guy, and he comes from right here in St. Louis. Again, a guy who I've gotten to know his coach really well, recommended him highly. And unfortunately with their school, they don't have some of the tools that some of the other guys have. So getting film on them's tough and at times, but we were able to go out and check out what he does. He's a tremendously hard worker, as a great student athlete. And big body guy, but just when he's on campus and you talk to this guy, he is just so down to earth, loves the game, loves to put in the work, and is excited for the opportunity to keep playing in college.
So obviously one of the coaches just chimed in. You can see it on the screen. Is he really 6'5", 330?
Yes. He
All
is.
right. Where I come from, we call that a biggin. That's a biggin. Yeah. I know. Wow.
We're excited to have him.
Oh, yeah. Well, certainly welcome Jordan to the program. All right. Our next signee, let me switch screens. Here we go. Talk to us about Justin Cornett out of right here in Fenton, Missouri with Rockwood Summit.
Yeah, so I mentioned 3 guys from Rockwood. Justin is number 2. We'll talk about the next guy here in a little bit. First team all-conference guy, another guy who played in the American Cancer All-Star game up here on campus. He was all-district, second team as a junior. Rockwood reached back-to-back district title games in 22 and 23. He's a big piece of that offense, big piece of the offensive line. He's a big, strong, physical guy. Again, guy who, alongside Eli, alongside David Blake, alongside Jordan Smith, all these guys, Jared Melton, all these guys have great size. Justin moves his feet really well. That'll be something that I know Coach Thomason will continue to work on with all these guys, but he's a guy that's got all the intangibles, great strength and physicality at the point of attack.
Well, that's really exciting. Then talk to us about Samuel Jones.
Yeah, so Sam is a Southern Illinois guy, comes out of Piasaw Southwest, really small school, kind of under-recruited there in Southern Illinois, but he's another guy that he's just a hardworking guy. He's smart, does all the right things, and on the field, off the field, works hard. He was a guy that was up here early on and realized that this is where he wanted to be, and we were excited to give him the opportunity to continue on playing. He's a guy that I think will just continue to get better and better. I think at times when we find some of those diamonds in the rough that are at those small schools, but it takes them a little bit to get used to what is college about compared to the small school, high school environment that they were around. But he's a guy that, because of his work ethic down the road, I think can be a really talented player for us on the O-line.
Absolutely. And this is another one of your guys that you recruited, Trent Masur.
Majer, I think is
Majer, that's right. Yeah, Majer.
So Trent comes out of DuQuoin, Illinois, and that's a Southern Illinois, kind of down by Carbondale. Trent is a blue-collar, hard-nosed, tough dude, okay? I mean, this is a guy that he's going to show up in jeans and the cowboy boots. He's going to mean business. I think he's a guy that wouldn't – if we could drill nails to the bottom of his boots and he could go play in them, he would, and he'd bury you and have no problem with it. But DuQuoin is one of the top programs down in Southern Illinois. I mean, they're a storied program. They do a lot of winning. They understand the work that goes into it. And, we're excited to have him. When you turn his film on, he's another guy that's versatile. He's another guy that gives us tremendous opportunity to move him on the inside, center, guard, you name it. But when he gets his hands on you, he's really good.
Yeah, well, coaches, I seriously want to say congratulations to all these fine young men as you recruited 8 and signed 8 offensive linemen. I cannot wait to the fall. That's a huge recruiting class. And yeah, I would concur. Great job to you and your staff, working this hard to bring in, these kind of athletes. I mean, every single one of you that you talked about were all this, all that. You saw them playing all-star games. They're smart. I mean, this is the kind of recruiting class that the Spartans exactly need. So great job. Now we're going to move on to the question that you always get asked, because I always ask it. Did we sign any quarterbacks? And your answer is?
Yes, we did. Well, yes, we did. So, and we're looking. We've got another one coming up and visiting from Texas tomorrow.
Nice.
That we're going to try and land as well. But Grant is a guy that, again, we've been on really early on. He was at our camp back in the spring, and we were extremely excited to have him. So Grant is a guy that we've spent a lot of time with. I know Coach Heck has spent a lot of time with. You want to talk about a competitor. I mean, you look at his picture. Can you tell us?
I know. Well, yeah.
He holds almost every record there at Rockwood Summit. And what's interesting about that is he didn't spend his entire time at Rockwood. He started at Fox, ended up moving to Rockwood. He finishes with almost 4,000 yards passing, 3,981 yards career passing. Set a record for single game touchdowns with 6, season touchdowns of 33, career touchdowns of 66. He's a two-time first team all conference and district player, third team all state. It just he just stacks all the accolades up. He's a tremendous quarterback and competitor. He's going to come in and compete right away, see what he can do. But we also, let him know, hey, we got some guys in the building that we need to see what they can do as well with Jordan Simpson and Brent Webbles and obviously Cooper. So he knows what he is. He knows what he's coming into, but we've also told him, hey man, like just like everywhere, we're not bringing you in to redshirt. We're bringing you in here to compete, and that's what
Right.
he wants to do. But just a tremendous guy, tremendous leader, and can't wait to see him in that quarterback room.
Absolutely. So now we're moving to the running backs, and we'll start with Cortland Johnson Jr.
Yeah, what do you think of this guy?
Okay, you got him from Denver. Okay, this is recruiting in your hometown in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah,
Very quick. So tell us this story. How did you get him? Or I should maybe ask it this way: how did Deion Sanders not get him?
Well, Deion missed on him. That's the truth. All right. So he comes out of Cherry Creek High School, which Cherry Creek, coached by the great Dave Logan, who played at the Denver Broncos, played at University of Colorado. So you might notice that there's a junior on that. So his dad, Cortland Johnson, Cortland and I were teammates at Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Cortland was a senior. He was a year ahead of me, was a leader on our 2001 Big 12 championship team. Get this. I mean, I know we're going to talk about his son here in a minute, but
Sure.
Cortland was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year his senior year in 2001 when we won the Big 12 championship. Just a tremendous athlete. And really, not only did we keep in touch, but Cortland, his dad is a Hazelwood Central grad. So Cortland grew up right here in St. Louis, ended up going to the University of Colorado from Hazelwood Central, where he was a standout running back, had a great career. CJ Jr. now, CJ, I've been knowing him since he was a freshman. And we've been in talks, and he's a running back like his dad. We may move him to corner. We've got him. He's a tremendous running back, but we may move him to corner. That's something I've watched him do in camps. He can, again, add that depth. But he's a tremendous running back. He set the school record for 347 yards in one game at his high school. Wow. So a guy who can do it all. Comes from a great background. And I think the thing that I'm the most excited about, I'm really excited to be able to coach one of my close friends' son.
Absolutely.
Awesome. But I'm also really excited for them to get back to the St. Louis area. Cortland's uncle, Corey Johnson, played at the University of Oklahoma, actually played linebacker alongside Coach Bowden at Oklahoma. And then CJ and I play together at Colorado. So there's a lot of ties there. Corey is the athletic director at Parkway North right here in St. Louis. His grandma and grandpa are still here. So it's a great opportunity to get the family back here in St. Louis, let him play in front of his grandma and grandpa, aunt and uncle. It'll be a great fit for him. I'm super excited about it. It's one of those signees that he's a great guy, great young man, but just kind of the family piece of it, getting to coach somebody that I kind of consider family is really exciting.
Absolutely. This is exciting. I can't wait to see him in camp. Great story. Thanks for sharing that, Coach. All right, another running back is Jaden Gibson from Lee Summit. And there's your next Lee Summit guy. Yeah,
so Jaden is actually from Lee Summit. The other's from Lee Summit North. But again, a tremendous program there. He's kind of like your Swiss Army knife, right? Offensively, he can do it all. They'll split him out. They use him at tailback. He's accounted for 850 all-purpose yards and 9 touchdowns this year. Guy that, again, we've got at the running back position, but he's a guy who can come in and do a lot of different stuff for us. He could play slot. He could be running back. If we had to, we could flip him over and play defense. He's just an athlete, guy who loves the game of football, comes from a great program, and will be a great addition.
All right, and keeping with the running backs, Thomas Gabar, from Imperial.
Yes. So, again, he's a conference offensive player of the year, 2-time first team All-State. He's a guy who's just physical, downhill runner, has great vision. When he hits that running lane, he's going to hit it and go. So we are extremely excited to have him. He's not the biggest guy, but he's sought off, loves the game, and like I said, has great vision and explosiveness downhill, hitting those holes. So all conference and player of the year guy within his league, just tremendous.
Player of the year in his league.
Yes, sir.
Wow, what a recruiting class thus far. All right, the next, now that wraps up the running backs, but Coach, great job on the running backs. And historically, we know that tight end is always a very important position. Again, you talked about that earlier with some of the folks that have come through really since the early days about a decade ago. And you've signed someone from all the way from Seckham Senior High School, and that's Trent Enlow. Yeah,
Yep.
talk to us
From
about
Seckham.
Trent.
Yeah, so this is going to be a surprise to Trent that we're talking about him as a tight end because he's an offensive lineman. But the thing is that one of the things we feel like with Trent that he could be an H, a guy that comes in right away and helps us as kind of that H, almost fullback type guy. When you turn this guy's film on, it is ridiculous. I mean, he is burying people all over the field. He moves great. He's a little bit undersized. That's why he might transition to this position from the offensive line. But this dude loves to hit people. I mean, there's clips where he buries guys and then does like a handstand on top of him as he flips over. I mean, he just loves the physicality of the game. It's unbelievable. Tremendous athleticism. He's a first-team all-conference guy, 6'8", also in Class 6, he was third-team all-state. So we'll see where he fits, but he is an offensive lineman, may end up there, but he's also a guy I could see getting him on the field in potentially a different situation just because of how well he moves and how physical he is.
Absolutely. So, Coach, to wrap up, the coaches show for National Signing Day is going to be the wide receivers, and it looks like you signed 8 of them. That's another big class, and we'll start with right away, Jaden Hines. I'll pull up the graphic for you right there, here from Lee Summit. Again, Lee Summit North. There we go.
Yep. So with the wide receivers, we're bringing in 8 guys. We felt like we lose some guys. Kevon Gaines, Cam Sloan are some guys that we lose. Gavin Claude, a guy, obviously Spartan fans know Gavin really well, but he tore his ACL. He'll probably miss the season. We have to account for that. When you look at the wide receiver position, as we go through them, some of them are outside guys. We have some guys that are more slot receivers. Needing both is why we need some guys to come in and compete. But this is a really, really strong group of wide receivers that I'm excited to announce. Jaden is a guy, he's a 2-time first-team all-academic or all-state academic, okay? Again, smart guy. Second-team all-conference as a junior. He's a guy that if you really look and dig on this guy, okay, as a junior, he's taking junior day visits to Iowa, Kansas State, Kansas. He's getting some big time offers or looks rather, taking these junior days, but he got injured, got passed over a little bit, and we think that this guy is one of those just game-changing type additions to our class. He's a track guy, plays 7th in the long jump and 5th in the 4x1. Just an athlete who can go get the ball and is, again, from a tremendous program. So we talk about 3 guys from Lee Summit North. All of them are ballers. Watch out for these guys.
Wow, really exciting. Especially the fact that he also runs track. He's got blazing vertical speed.
Yeah, we're going to blow the horn on some of these guys when we bring these Lee Summit North through.
All right, our next wide receiver is Amir Banks from Parkway Central High School.
Yeah, right here around the corner. They were district champions. He was second-team all-conference. 2 times leader in receptions and yards for his team there at Parkway Central. He's a guy who can play multiple positions there. He can play inside. He's got the ability to go play outside, has great hands, great speed, can get separation, and again, will be a guy that I think will be a great addition to our wide receiver core.
All right, keeping on with the wide receivers, Ace Bendel
at
Libertyville, at Liberty.
Yeah. Right. Ace Bendel out of Liberty, 3rd team All-State, just comes from a football family. I mean, these guys are, I mean, this is a football family. He's got twin brothers that are a little younger. They're traveling all over, getting recruited. They're offensive linemen. Ace is a wide receiver. I mean, I feel like the guy on Mel Kiper, you know, when you get excited, like this is a football family guy. I mean, these people love the game, but he's a third team All-State guy there at Liberty, a good program, first team all conference. He's all district. So here's kind of an interesting fact. I mentioned the two younger brothers, right? So every single one of them was an all district, all conference player. How about that? Every single one of them. I mean, this family they had to buy a trailer to bring all the awards home. It's unbelievable. But he holds the single game record for receptions and was 2023 state champs. He did that. He broke the single game school record versus Liberty North, which ended up being state champ. So when the best are there, he's at his highest level. He's a versatile guy, big frame guy, can run, can play on the outside, can be a matchup inside, and a great addition. One of the guys that we were super excited when he's announced his commitment to us.
That's really exciting. Very exciting, Coach. All right, so now we're going to Caden Craig. Talk to us about Caden.
Caden's a guy out of Sykeston High School. Again, Coach Kern's area there. He's a really good route runner, has really reliable hands, the ability to create separation at any time. Once he gets the ball in his hands, this guy can be dangerous, and that's what we're really excited about. He's got the ability to be very shifty and elusive, can make big plays. That's something I think that we need to, and when we talk about where we need to get better, is really get better in that yak. You know, we've got Joe White, who did a really nice job as a freshman. He'll be back. You add these guys to that receiving core. Again, I mentioned Nick Schock out of Willow Ridge. He's a freshman that we'll see during spring ball. Shane Becker, a guy that's here and has done some tremendous things, and several other guys on that wide receiver core, Marcellus Griffin. So you stack this talent with these guys. He's, Caden's a guy that when he gets the ball in the hands, it'll be fun.
All right. Well, as we continue, Coach Co recruits Nick Watkins from Cardinal Rittner.
Yeah, Cardinal Ritter. Has anybody ever heard of that program? My goodness, they're something else, you know. I think,
yeah, they are.
Just a tremendous program right here in St. Louis. Nick's a guy that we kind of got on a little bit later, realized that he was still looking, realized that he was interested. He's a slot, but he is a dynamic playmaker. Another guy kind of like Caden that can come into that slot, make plays. You get the ball in the hands, and he's going to be elusive. We can use him on special teams, runs great routes, catches the ball, and once he gets the ball in the hands, he's electric.
So with that, Coach, it sounds like to me with these kind of speed guys like that, sounds like to me you might be running a little more motion than normal. Just saying.
Well,
to get them a head start running, right?
Well, we're not the CFL and we're not the arena, so we can't go downhill. But what we can do is create those matchups. You're exactly right. And I think that's where that motion stuff comes in, some of the jet sweeps, and some of the guys we're going to talk about here as we go. The next one being Ryan Rapert out of Union High School, a guy that Coach Heck, again, was on really early. He's another academic all-state guy. Guys, again, that have really good grades is a point of emphasis for us. He's he was all district, all conference, two-time all district and all conference guy, had 22 total touchdowns, played both ways for Union, just a tremendous football player. Again, a guy that if for some reason we have to move around, he gives us the ability to do it, but he's really good when he gets the ball in his hands. Got tremendous hands himself.
Absolutely. And then we got Isaiah Hamilton.
Yeah, Zay, man. I'll tell you what, Zay is a guy, Coach Coach Thomason, our offensive line coach, recruited him extremely hard out of Timberland High School.
Yep.
This is a tremendous young guy. And when he's up on campus and you shake his hands are enormous. He's got a big frame. He is a game changer. He ends up being first team all district. When he was up on his visit, we were able to notify him that he was an all-state player as well. He finished with 49 catches, 741 yards, 6 touchdowns, and played on the defensive side of the ball as well. He had 5 interceptions defensively. So, again, another athlete that gives us a tremendous ability, but his frame and his ability on the outside can stretch a defense, can go up and get the ball. He is just a lot of fun to watch and a guy that we were extremely excited when he announced his commitment.
Really, really exciting. And then our last signee and wide receiver, and I don't know, it's such a popular name for wide receivers these days, Zay Jones, but this is our Zay Jones right here from Wildwood at Lafayette. Talk to us about Zay.
Yeah, so Zay's a steal. I'm just going to say what it is. You know, Coach Heck, it's a steal. I mean, this is a guy, honestly, when you look him up on 247 Sports, he's a 2-star guy on 247 Sports. You know, might be, in all honesty, in our 10 years, the first guy that has been rated by 247 Sports as any type of star, 1-star, 2-star, you name it. But he's ranked as the 53rd best player in the state of Missouri. I mean, This guy can flat ball. He's a 3-time first-team all-conference and all-district guy. They were conference champs there at Lafayette. He is the guy that made this engine go there at Lafayette over the last couple years. 2,882 all-purpose yards is what he's amassed there during his time. He's a guy that can play in the slot. He can be a mismatch on the outside. If you need to put him in the backfield, you can do that. I mean, this guy, besides being a great football player, he is a tremendous young man, has tremendous family, tremendous support system around him. And we couldn't be more excited for Zay to come in. And, you know, we mentioned about some of the guys that we need to replace, you know, Cam Sloan and some of those guys. You know, we've got the guys in the building that can do that. Zay is a guy that I think Spartan fans are going to get to know very early in this thing, whether it be on special teams or playing a lot on the offensive side of the ball. But, you know, we were talking today as we're getting the announcements and going through stuff, you know, with the injury to Gavin Claude, some of these other guys, you know, the guys we have in the building, that they're going to have to put in some work. These guys coming in are going to be ready to go. But we feel like with the guys in the building and the guys we're bringing in, our wide receiver core can be really dynamic over the next couple of years.
Well, Coach, honestly, I just want to say congratulations. This seems to me, again, just seems to be, to me, perhaps one of the best recruiting classes in Spartan history. Congratulations to you and the staff. And most importantly, congratulations to the 43 young men who've decided to play the college football right here in St. Louis at the amazing Missouri Baptist University. And Coach, I just can't wait to get them on campus. So, you know, kind of, you know, you got any kind of final thoughts as you reflect now on the class of 2024?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think every year, you and I sit here and we do signing day, right? And we go through these guys, and I to your point, I mean, we as a staff are extremely excited. I can't say enough about the work that our staff did to land these guys. We've had some stuff that has really been helpful, as I mentioned, with the administration, and can't thank them enough for that. That's been huge for us. But you know, right now it's all right here, right? It's all on paper, and so you know, on paper, this is one of the top classes that we've ever had. One of the classes that I'm really excited about. Like you mentioned, can't wait to get them on campus. But I think the biggest thing that I would say to them is they got to continue to put in the work. And as I've said to them when they've been up here on recruiting, we've got a locker room full of really talented guys that we're going to build this thing around as well, that we're going to rely on as the core of this football team. And these guys are going to come in and be an important piece of it, but they got they've got to put in the work, just like our guys are putting in the work right now. Our team, our guys that are in the locker room are out there at 6 a.m. in the weight room, on the field, doing conditioning, competing their butts off. They're not going to give up their position easily, but the thing I'm really excited about is that competition. You get that iron sharpens iron type of mentality, man, really good things can happen. And to your point, I know it's a ways away.
Right.
It'll be here before you know it, but I can't wait till August gets here.
Oh, you and me and certainly Spartan Nation, we all can't wait. And it's really exciting, Coach. Again, congratulations. One final thing I do want to ask you, when is the spring game? So if Spartan fans want to come out and see it, do you get the date for that?
Yeah, April 13th is the spring game. And as we get closer, we'll dial in a time.
Okay.
We're, I think, doing that maybe early afternoon, but April 13th will be the spring game. And, that'll be a good opportunity for guys that are here to kind of put their last stamp on things before we go into the summer months. And after that, man, it's just coming in and competing. But, excited to go year 2 into the heart of America.
Yep.
Being in the new league has helped our recruiting a lot, especially in the Kansas City area, in the central Missouri area, which I'm excited to continue building on that, just excited about the group of guys that we're able to bring in and the talent, but also the intangibles, right? The 5 things we talk about: character, respect, perseverance, love, and trust. Their academics, who they are on and off the field, and it'll be a lot of fun. As I know, I talked a lot about Cortland, my teammate, and his son. But I get a text from his dad, and he's exactly right, man. He said, "Get your popcorn ready because it's about to be epic," and I love that.
I certainly love that saying, for sure, right? All right, Coach, you guys have been hard at work. Now you're I know you still got some recruiting still going on. Obviously, it's always an active thing, just so Spartan fans understand that. But obviously now it's the off-season workouts. It's the off-season. Certainly now you're getting ready for the spring game coming up. And not too short, it's actually not too far away, actually, when you think about it. Then before you know it, Spartan football will be here in the fall, in August, the dog days of August. We cannot wait to see all 43 of these athletes. Look at this. CJ look at this. How about that, huh? Look at CJ. He's on fire for this. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, he's on fire.
He's on fire. I love it. I love it.
That dude was a dog now. I'm telling you. You ask people in this area, ask people around Hazelwood Central about Cortland Johnson and CJ, young buck, he pretty talented too, but he's going to go alongside some dogs that are in this class. That's for sure.
Well, hopefully CJ will be out for the spring game. If so, we'll interview him. We'll post one of those interviews. It'd be kind of cool to interview him to get it from his perspective.
Absolutely.
All right. So for Coach B, I'm Guy Danoff. We want to thank you for watching the MBU Football Spartan National Signing Day Coaches Show for 2024. Again, congratulations to the 43 men who decided to play their college football right here in St. Louis from Missouri Baptist University. Have a great night.